get decked.
So Kev's going to ask us a pretty straightforward question here. I already have my answer written here loud and clear. He asks us very simply, are ultra rares and promos needed to play every style?
First off, promos are just reprints of cards that are already out in play.
Yep. So don't worry about promos. It's not a thing.
Promo time and regular time are the same thing.
Yeah, in the olden days of Score Z, yeah, promos were wild. They were nuts. There was nothing like them.
In all honesty, I still play with one of each for the possession drill.
Yeah.
And I still prefer the Cheat Sheet half the time over the Ball Mill.
Yep. And isn't that just a, what do they call it?
It's a promo.
It's a promo.
This one's the foil rare, and this one's the promo.
Oh, it's a rare? I honestly never knew it was a rare. Wow, that shows me I don't know anything.
Yep.
So the short answer to your question is no. Absolutely not. The promos are never needed, and neither are ultra rares. Like we said, you can find substitutes in anything.
Sometimes they help speed you up, especially with Raditz and stuff like that. But you could still do it just as easily without it. You could still run the new mastery, the second mastery with Raditz, or even the new mastery with Raditz. Start off at level 2 and just work your way up to level 3.
And think about that. It offsets everybody's strategies. What's that? You got a card in your hand? There you got.
No, that's 3.
Well, shooting to level 3.
But yeah, I mean, like, trying to get there. That's why they try to get you there. Yep. Well, you want to get to 4. Because once you get to 4, you're just playing Saiyan Menace every 5 seconds.
I remember I was like, they're all 3 in play again, are they?
And then you were Brawly, and you were just like, okay, I'm Brawly level 2. I'm going to banish that one this turn before you can play it. Oh, next turn, I'll banish that one before you can play it. And third turn, I'll banish that one before we play. Okay, now you're done.
There's no means to get it back. So why you may be asking this question of us is for the following. You probably paid attention to high-level players. You probably paid attention to regionals.
You gotta realize these people that usually are in there, first off, they've got a lot of dedication to this game. They usually are playing this, live, breathing, eating, and that they'll sink the money into it. You realize you're talking to a guy that I did top 16. I probably could have gone further had I been able to have stayed with a deck that I barely had played for a week. I only played it 1 week before then.
I remember.
And it had no. I think it had 1 dig in it, and I only used it once. It's very pivotal though, because it was against a blue Piccolo, and that's why I said just leveling him up to 3. Sometimes that's all you need. But even at that, I didn't need it.
Yep. Well, what we're getting at is the reason you might think it's a thing is that the guys at the high level of play might give you the impression that because you always see so-and-so's playing with a sphere in his hand, you might see that a lot and think, holy cow, the big boys play with ultra rares, right? Don't think that.
You don't have to necessarily have them to win.
No.
And this comes to a lot of other different games. You're free to play games versus pay to win. And this game is actually very balanced in that regard.
Better than most.
That you have the same tools that they do. And you know what? And if anything, you're going to be better than them for the reason that you will find a way to get around the same things or to be able to do the same things without those cards. And that will make you a better player, in all honesty, than a lot of people realize. As a guy who's never played with a sphere, I've had times been thrown at me rapidly. I've had times been thrown at me at really pivotal moments, and you learn how to play against them. You learn, okay, now this is my hand. What do I do with this? How do I get out of this? What do I do? What do I keep? What you start to think about your end game at that point for the turn. And usually I play the way that I play, and because I played this a lot, I play to the point where there's a lot of actions I could still do, even when time's been done. I play Cell. Oh, you timed me. I'm still going to make you mill 4. I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to do that. I'm still got things to do. Still going to play cards because they lower your anger or they raise my anger. Yep. I'm still got moves to make even though you don't take any damage. You call it a free ride, but I don't see it that way.
Nope.
Nappa was the pinnacle of that. you know, oh, you just, okay, you did that on my 3 stages. Okay, I'm going to throw this, lose 3 stages. It's an event. It's not stopped.
If I may offer what I would call, I got to put a warning in front of this, an actual warning, like not even joking warning. Warning, unpopular opinion. You may heartily disagree. The fellas who demand that ultra rares be in every deck and build their entire strategies around them, you're like, oh, I just unleash up to level 4. I think they're bringing a mentality from a different game. I will flat out tell you, these guys probably played games where you paid to win. The more expensive your deck, potentially. I'm looking at you, Magic the Gathering.
I'm looking at you, Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
I could even start to kind of point fingers at Pokemon. Not too badly, though. Because usually they don't become expensive till people actually win with them.
Yep.
And I give them respect for that. And you could have a deck that just as easily, runs without the stuff that they have, and you can still counter them. But yeah, there is a mentality of that, and I think Panini's done a fairly good job of trying to balance that out.
Yep. Giving them something to collect that's higher level and trade into stuff like that. But at the same time,
necessary.
Yeah, not making it, this is the whole game. You don't play it, you better just pack your bags, you done.
Yeah, we were talking about how Angelo was talking about how every deck's now going to run Heroic Dashing Punch. You know, before this set, no one thought Heroic Dashing Punch was good. Until this set. No one thought it was good. And all of a sudden, Trunks played it once, and everyone's on the bandwagon for it.
It is kind of funny.
It's just an attack. It's okay, but here's the double-edged sword of it. Yeah, they force you to skip. Okay, but if they don't pass, or they don't. Okay, it forces you to. I think it forces you to pass.
I have to look that up.
Either it forces you to skip or it forces you to pass. If it forces you to pass, okay. If they don't pass, you're gonna fuck them up. And I'm sorry if we have to bleep that out or whatnot.
Oh, it'll be hilarious.
But here's the thing about it. You basically they did a no-no. They made it to where everything else skips. It's not even pass. It skips, which just makes it that much sweeter.
Yeah.
For the remainder of combat, life card damage from attacks is banished.
Yeah.
So at that point, you turn it against them, because then you could possibly get rid of all their ultra rares and their little love cards that they love so much, while you're still enduring everything like you cannot do it. You can't gain anger this combat if it hits, but even if you can block it, it's just like, it's one of those, you just love it. You live it.
If you think about it for a second, all right, it's neat. It's an ultra rare. It's a physical attack. Like, oh, okay, I can always make use of that, generally speaking. Erase my anger. Awesome, I love this. Then you realize, wait a minute, all it is make my opponent skip, not pass. And everybody takes their life card damage, gets banished for the remainder of this combat. If you think about it for a second, you really ready to face that? You really ready to start losing? What if they hit you with time, and you played this, and they blocked it with time? If you think about it, oops, they're going to rain pain down on you for the rest of combat.
If they don't have any way out, yeah. And that's what I'm saying. You got to be the better player at that point, and you got to learn. That's the thing. We can rely on strong cards, sure. Or you can learn to be a better player. You can, as in the Monster Hunter community, as they would say, you get good. And they will flat out tell you, because that is one of those games where you have to learn how to anticipate, read, and movements of monsters in the game. It's the same thing with this. You have to learn how to read and anticipate cards based on what they are. Oh, I'm fighting a red Trunks deck. Okay, it's mainly going to be physicals. It's anger and physicals. So if I get an effect that lets me search out my deck for a block, I'm going to grab a physical.
Right, your strategy's starting to change. It's not that you're not running for your own win condition, but you're going to fight against his very aggressive win condition.
And you're playing smarter, not harder.
I'll give you the sphere
they have a time in their hand.
Yep.
If you got a hand that pretty much blocks and you think you could bait them out to use that time, do it.
Yep. Run out
Nothing's more infuriating than them throwing down that time and you just passing.
Yep.
They hate that. They hate that. I have had so many people just get mad about that. They're like, you're not trying to attack? I'm like, no. And usually they're just like, well, there's no point or something like that. But you're just literally like, no, and then they're just like, okay, well, we'll throw this, and you're just like, okay, I'll play this.
Yep.
I'll pass, and they're just like, wait, what? And then you're just like, yeah, I'll play this. I'll pass, and I've had people like, I've played against Blues with all the setup attacks. I went in with a handful of defenses, made them waste all the defenses. They only got one attack off on me, and they're just like, why'd you go into combat? I'm like, well, look at it this way. Next turn, I get to draw 3 cards. I'm back up to and I might be up to 4. I might just be up to 3. Well, no, it'll be their turn. They'll draw their 3. They only have those 3 or 4 cards in their hand. There's nothing left on the field again. So now we're on even terms.
Yep.
And that changes combat all the way.
You forced them to fight the fight you wanted to fight. Mm-hmm. If I was to go to offer you one small other thing about how does having an ultra rare, an easy button card, how does it affect the way you play and your own personal mentality? I'll give you an example. If you notice an enemy, gosh, using language I shouldn't be using. An enemy, a hated foe.
You're going to Monster Hunter. We're gonna get good. We're gonna carve the monster afterwards and make armor out of it, and we're just gonna wear it.
I guess if we have to. But if you notice a guy who's playing a deck, and you already know this guy plays the game. He's a pro. He's got all kinds of time and money invested. You know the card. If pay attention to what card he specifically is holding on to at the end of every combat. What's he holding, James?
Sphere.
Yeah. So in other words,
unless they know that you don't run a lot of events, then they're smart. If they're a smart player,
yep.
And if they're smart, they'll get rid of it, and you'll see that every once in a while. But usually people that don't know better, or they got the sphere and they had to trade a lot for it, or this is their baby, they pulled it. This is their first ultra rare. They're gonna have it to the death. I played it once with Heroic Sphere, and I was just like, isn't that good?
Isn't that funny? The day you used it for real, you're like, wait that all it really did?
Oh, I actually missed one of the times I could have used it once because I was so used to not having it. And then he's just like, because it was stare down, he's like, why don't you just play the sphere? I'm just like, yeah, you're right. Let me just. I forgot that I even had it. And immediately after that game, I'm like, what could I put in instead of that?
Yeah, it only came up once, and who cares?
And even when it came up, I didn't even think to use it because I'm just so used to not using it.
And here's why holding the Sphere Forever is a hilarious strategy. Beginning of combat, whether initiating or being drawn into, you're a card down every combat. Unless the situation presents itself, the Sphere is as dead as it could be.
Yeah, unless they pull enhanced reflexes, which nobody runs, which is kind of sad because it's not a bad card. Well, it's the top banish. But
it scares a lot of people.
It does. It actually hurts a lot too. I mean, like this thing. If Gohan becomes a big thing, I can see this becoming a thing because I can't stop your Gohan's power punch. I can play this though, and I can make it 0 attack.
Yep.
And banish it.
Take that. I love it. I love that. It's going to have to come back.
You know who did that to me? Chris did that to me.
Oh, he'd do it. He would.
He would, out of all the people.
Who would?
But, things like that, I'm not too impressed about them.
No.
You know what the one that really didn't impress me? Okay, the only one that kind of did was the villain.
Is it from the newer set?
It was the one that was the cell, and it was the setup that could copy a drill and play.
Oh, Power
Mimic? Power Mimic, there we go.
Yeah.
Power Mimic. That was the only one that did, and that's only because I'm an orange player, and I'm thinking, oh man, I could copy Disaster Drill. I could be gaining 2 anger off of all my attacks for the turn, and 4 stages, plus 4 stages. Instant Transmission, such a wash of a card. And it scared, and here's the funniest thing about it. It scared everybody to where they pretty much stopped playing time. Not time, visiting.
Yep.
Everyone stopped playing visiting.
It was
No, everyone still. How many decks do you know that still play visiting?
Mine, but I don't know about other people's. I can't even think of the last time I saw one.
I don't.
What the?
There's no reason for me to. Anyways, there just really isn't any reason for me to, because I'm orange. I got 10. I got 10 drills in my deck.
I was gonna say you don't need any more dead cards. It's fine.
I mean, I can do 12, and that's not bad. But with the way that my deck runs right now, I don't need it.
Yeah, the thing
But
we'll say
that's
is,
the funny thing. It's like everyone's like, I would put visiting in, but I'm afraid of Goku. I'm like, how many people do you know that play Goku?
hey, it's just me. Cut that out. And I do have that card in there. But what we're getting at is no. The answer is no. No, you never need an ultra rare to make a deck work. You never do. They're nice to have in there, but like we said, with a wide enough card pool,
Yep.
you can get around everything.
Yep.